Hello, my name is T. Adam Goss, and I'm the Managing Director of the Little Red Hen Theater in Wakefield, Nebraska. The Little Red Hen Theater is a community theater and art center located in the agricultural and rural community of Wakefield in northeast Nebraska. We got our start in 1994 with our first production of The Hobbit. Since then, the theater has been producing 3 to 4 community productions each year, as well as offering special concerts, creating gatherings for the community events and celebrations, as well as a wide variety of arts education experiences. So what exactly is my job? What does the Managing Director of the Little Red Hen Theater do? Well, basically, I'm responsible for everything that happens at the theater, as well as for maintaining the building and making sure that the Little Red Hen Theater is a sustainable and viable organization within the community. Generally, my work can be categorized into 2 different buckets, the artistic work and the administrative work. So let's take a look at the artistic work. Those duties generally involve artistic programming or creation of the season, production design, stage direction, community and volunteer recruitment, as well as education. The artistic programming or creation of a season is one of the most fun and creative things that I get to do. Basically, I have to decide what are the plays or musicals that we're going to put on in any given season at the Little Red Hen Theater. That means reading a lot of different plays, thinking about the actors and volunteers that we have who may want to participate, and deciding also what it is that our audiences want to see. Besides programming plays and musicals, I also have to figure out what other special activities we're going to do. That may be a musical concert with an artist that we hire in. That requires a lot of research and listening. All of this happens over the course of a year, and then we roll out our season to our audiences and our volunteers at one time, so they can see what's in store for the entire year coming up at the Little Red Hen Theater. Stage direction is another fun thing that I get to do. The stage director is responsible for creating the artistic vision of that particular piece of work, whether it's a play or a musical. In short, you could say, if you thought about it really simply, the director is responsible for telling the actors where to move and when to move and how to move. But it's much more than that. A stage director is really the artistic leader of a whole group of actors and technicians that works with them for them to do their best artistic work to create an impact and a feeling for the audiences that are going to be watching the show. Production design covers a lot of different creative categories, but it's basically the job of the production designer to figure out what does the show look like? How do you make lights and sound and costumes and the set come together to serve the stage director's vision? These are all very skilled jobs that can be done by one person or by a variety of people who may be volunteers, or often in professional theater are people who are getting paid for their work. At a community theater, working with the community is one of the biggest things that we do. After all, if I don't have actors and technicians who are volunteering to come in and work and be here and spend their time, we wouldn't have any shows or events to share with our audiences. So retaining and recruiting volunteers is a huge part of my job. That really is about figuring out what are the best projects for people to be involved with. What are projects that they're going to be excited about? It also is making sure that you're using their time well. The other part is that not only does it need to be fun and engaging, but you also want your volunteers who are being actors or technicians to learn and to grow and to use the theater and what we do here at the organization as a way to be able to express their own creativity and to grow as artists in their own right. And so that brings me to my other artistic duty, which is education. Art centers and small communities really thrive on helping make the community understand what is important about the arts. And we do that in lots of different ways here. We offer workshops and classes throughout the year for young children or even older adults who want to learn about acting or perhaps do a brand new experience that they've never done before, such as a technician shop or a painting workshop. Education is a huge part of all nonprofit arts because we only exist when people understand what we do and want to be a part of that. The other half of my job at the theater is doing all of the administrative duties. Essentially, that's all of the work that I have to do to make sure that the theater is a viable and sustainable organization, that it's financially healthy, and that it can afford to do everything artistically that we want to do. We can put those duties into these three buckets. There's the fundraising duties, the marketing responsibilities, and also the financial duties. So let's talk about fundraising. Every nonprofit, whether an arts nonprofit or a social nonprofit, relies upon fundraising to meet their budgets and make sure they can do the work that they're intending to do. Although we do sell tickets to our shows, the sales of those tickets don't even come close to covering the costs of putting those shows on. So we have to fundraise in order to fill the gap and to meet our budget. We do that in a variety of ways. One way is to write grants to foundations, to government entities that like to support the arts. The other portion of fundraising is also asking for donations. That's a huge part of what we do, is going to private businesses and individuals and asking them to support the work. We're very lucky here in that our community is very supportive of the work that the theater does. And many of our businesses and individuals in the community are patrons who donate money to us on an annual basis so that we can continue to offer our work and be a resource for the community. Marketing is basically communicating to everybody who has an interest in your theater what it is that you are doing. This is audiences who want to come see your shows. This is volunteers who want to participate in what you're doing. It's also for the general public to be aware of who you are as an organization and what you do. Marketing can come in the form of posters that you hang up around town. It can be radio ads. It can be print ads advertising your show that you're doing so that people come and sell tickets. We also do a lot of social media marketing. That can be as direct as putting up ads for a specific show that we're doing, creating videos so that people can see what the experience in a show is like. It can also be as simple as having an active Facebook page and an active website where anybody who's thinking about being involved with you or checking out what's happening can engage with you in some way that is accessible and easy. Financial work is probably the least exciting part of my job, yet one of the most necessary parts. It is my responsibility to make sure that the theater is financially solvent. In other words, am I spending too much money, or am I raising enough money for the theater to operate? This is something that we have to monitor on a monthly basis. We actually do an annual budget, so we plan out what we think all of our expenses are going to be for the year for what we want to do. And then we decide, can we raise enough money through grants and gifts, as well as selling tickets, to cover those costs? We have to balance our budget out, which means we don't make any money as a nonprofit. Everything that we raise gets spent on our art. Like I said, it's not the most fun part, but also a necessary part to make sure that the theater can continue to be around for many more years for audiences to enjoy for a long time to come. So, I just gave you a pretty long overview of what my job is here at the community theater, where I'm the only employee. However, were you to pursue a career in theater, any of those responsibilities at larger organizations can boil down to being one job. There are people who work at theaters who only do financial work, people who only work in marketing, people whose sole job is to fundraise. And on the creative side, there's a plethora of positions that you can have. There are people who are paid to act, people who are paid to direct, people who work as stage technicians with a union, people who are designers who design lights or costumes, or all of them, sound designers, property designers, people who help create the artistic work on stage, people who help stage manage. There is no one way to getting a job in theater, and no specific path that anybody may take. However, they are all skilled positions, and they do require education. Now, whether that education comes to you through a 4-year or extended program by getting a graduate degree, or whether you obtained that skill through a trade program or joining a union apprentice program, doesn't really matter. The important thing is that it's not the kind of job that you can just walk in the door and get without having some previous experience and or knowledge and or obtaining training that is specialized in order to achieve that. The jobs come in all sorts of different packages. Administrative jobs at most organizations tend to be 9-to-5 jobs where you are a salaried employee and making a wage on a regular basis. Some larger theaters do hire artistic people, such as stage directors, who they do pay a salary to and are on the payroll. However, a lot of the creative jobs in theater, such as acting, design work, even technician work, is on a per contract basis, which means basically you're self-employed and you're working from one gig to the next. You don't often have just one employer in those types of jobs. In fact, you're often working with several different entities in order to make a living as a freelance contractor. So let me talk to you about my career path and how I ended up here at the community theater. I actually got my start at the Little Red Hen Theater when I was in high school in this town as an actor in The Hobbit. Now, over 25 years later, I'm back and I'm running this organization, but it wasn't a straight path. I went to Wayne State College and received a 4-year degree in theater and music. From there, I went to graduate school and attained an MFA in theater performance. I worked as a freelance actor in Chicago for quite a while, sometimes paying the rent, but almost always having to do other jobs as well. I was a great coffee shop barista and occasionally a waiter. I found that I really enjoyed working in the administrative duties as much as I did in the artistic duties. So I started working as an administrative assistant at the Goodman Theater in Chicago. From there, I learned more about business in theater as well as fundraising in theater. I then moved on to other organizations. I worked at the Omaha Symphony and ran their education programs. I then became their general manager before coming back here and encompassing everything that I learned about acting, performing, directing, raising money, managing money, as well as planning activities, doing community and education that made me the perfect fit for this job where I have to combine all of those skills. It's one of the things that I love about my job is that there's not just one thing that I do, but I get to do everything that I love about this business, which is all of the artistic stuff, as well as making sure that we're able to do all of that work because of maintaining the administrative oversight of the organization. So, what are the characteristics and skills that you need to be successful at a career in the theater? Well, the first obvious one people would normally say is talent. You gotta be talented to pursue a career in the arts. I'm not gonna say that you don't need to be talented, but that's not the most important thing that you need to focus on. When you start working in theater or any other performing art, you realize that everyone has a talent of some kind and everyone has a special skill. And when you reach a certain level, it's not really about how talented you are. What is more important is that you know how to use your skills appropriately, that you've got the education and the training, or a desire to get more education and training, and that you want to be a team player and move the project or the artistic vision forward any way you can. That's true whether you're working on the artistic side or the administrative side of any theatrical organization. The most important thing that once you start your career in the theater is that you understand how to be professional and how to work with people. It's a very small world in the theater business and everyone knows everyone. If you're not kind or if you're not somebody who people want to be around, they're not going to bring you back on for other jobs or other gigs. So for me, that's always been paramount, is how do you be a nice human being? How do you collaborate and work well with other people and come together as a team to create a vision? That's really important. What are the advantages and disadvantages to pursuing a career in the theater? I've done a lot of career talks with young kids over the years in all my positions, with a lot of professional musicians, actors, people who worked on Broadway, and one thing that they almost always said to a T was that if you can imagine yourself doing anything else other than the arts and being happy, you should do that. And I don't mean to say that flippantly, because I find a career in the arts to be the most incredibly fulfilling thing that I have ever done. And that's one of the biggest advantages. What is so fantastic about this work is that I get to bring people together. I get to create programs and activities in which they grow as human beings, where they see new skills come, where they get increased self-worth and value and pride in their work. I get to see the impact that it has on a small community when they all come together for a shared experience, whether it's just laughing for a few hours or whether it's seeing a whole new viewpoint that they hadn't imagined. Art is very powerful and can be transformative in a very intimate and personal way. It also has the ability to change a community economically, to make it a better place to live. To have access to the arts is huge. All those things that I get to do with this job are amazing, and I can't imagine doing anything else. However, one of the biggest disadvantages to pursuing a career in the arts is that it's not easy to break into this business. And when you do, it can take a long time to be financially stable. You know, whether you're just starting out or whether you've been in the career a long time, the money that you're making depends greatly upon the kind of work that you're doing and where you're doing it. There are actors who you've never heard of who are making a wonderful living. And there are very few actors who you all know who are making tons of money. But that's a very small portion of the people who work in the arts who are making money at that top tier. Most people are in the mid-range or barely scraping by. It can take a long time to break into this business and even longer to be successful. When I first started as an actor, I couldn't support myself as just an actor, so I worked as a barista at a coffee shop. I had friends who were waiters. I have other friends who've been in the business and are doing so great, but they're also going from gig to gig to gig. They may do a commercial and have no work for 6 months and have to live off that money for 6 months until the next thing comes along. It's the same with designers. And even if you go the administrative route like I do, where you can find a more solid 9-to-5 job, it can be very difficult to get those jobs. There aren't a lot of them out there, and there's a lot of high competition to get that job, which means you're awfully competing against a lot of candidates for the position, and the pay for artistic jobs is generally lower because there's so many people who are willing to work and want to do that work. So it's something to think about very carefully about what it is you want to do. Many working actors delay a lot of things, not just actors, but many working people in the theater delay a lot of things that they would normally do earlier in their life, such as getting married or starting a family, because they don't know if they're going to have the financial stability to do that. And that's not true across the board, but generally, most people who work in the arts have prioritized their art and their occupation over some of the more personal things that you might traditionally pursue. That, to me, is one of the big disadvantages. You have to so love and desire the work to be in the art that you're willing to sacrifice time and some of your other ambitions possibly in order to pursue that and make that happen. And it won't happen overnight. It takes a lot of time. If you have decided that this is for you and you're going to pursue a career in the arts, what are the activities that you should do to help you get along that path? Well, first, I would say at your school, participate in anything that you can that is arts related. That includes one-acts or the school play, singing in the choir, playing in the band, participating in the musical. Whatever your school has available, give it a try and participate. Now, just don't focus on the performing. I would encourage you also to learn about what it takes to put the show on. Learn about the business side of it or the designing side of it. Help with the costumes, help with the lights, help with anything that you can in order to advance your skill instead of focusing on just one area. Most artists these days are very entrepreneurial, which means they have to market themselves, they have to sell themselves, they have to have a wide variety of skills in order to be successful so that they can do a whole bunch of different gigs until they find the perfect fit for them. I would also encourage you to look outside of your school. Find your local community theater and volunteer with them. Again, just don't focus on the acting. Learn about what happens backstage or what goes into making the season happen. Volunteer your time in ways that you hadn't thought about. Finally, I'd also encourage you to look at some business classes, because being an actor or working in theater often means you're self-employed. And so knowing how to manage your finances, knowing how to look at yourself as a business is an important part of being successful in this business, whether you're an actor or an administrator. So, of course, because I like infusing education into everything that we do have a fun and a little bit cheesy activity for you to do. I want you guys to visit our website at www.littleredhentheater.com and find our Let's Create a Play activity. There's a worksheet you can download. You can work in small groups to write a play that you will then stage and perform. This requires you to think creatively as a stage director and a storyteller about what is the story you want to tell. You need to perform it as actors and also have somebody direct it or stage it to figure out how it's going to look. Now don't worry, you're not flying blind. We've got an example on the website for you too. My nephew and I have actually done this activity as part of one of our weekly series called Let's Get Creative. I hope you enjoy it, and if you do the activity, we encourage you to upload your videos of your play to Facebook and tag the Little Red Hen Theater, because we would love to see the work that you're doing. Finally, if any of you are in the area and are curious more about the Little Red Hen Theater or what it may take to have a career in this field, we encourage you to give us a call, drop us an email, or stop by. We'd love to chat with you. And come be in a show sometime. It'll be fun. Thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing your creative ideas. Hey guys, it's Adam.
And Elin.
At the Little Red Hen Theater. You know, Elin and I like to do all sorts of fun things here at the theater, like be in plays and musicals and do creative drama. But since we can't all get together and do that right now, Elin and I thought we'd get together and make some videos of us doing creative things and share them with you guys. We think they're things that you guys can do at home too, right, Elin?
Right.
So today we're gonna write, costume, and perform our very own play using something we call the Random Play Generator. So Elin, what is the Random Play Generator?
It helps us create characters, setting, plot, conflict, and resolution. All the things you need to help create a story.
Hey, it sounds fun. Should we get started?
Let us begin.
Okay, we're gonna pull out our Random Play Generator worksheet. It has a basic story in it, but we've got to come up with all the details. Are you ready?
Yep.
Let's get cracking. The first thing we have to come up with is our characters. Characters are the people who are in the story. Since there's two of us, we're gonna have two characters.
Now we're gonna come up with our setting. The setting is where the story takes place.
Now it's time for us to talk about our plot. The plot is what happens in the story, all of the different action. You ready, Elin?
Yep.
Let's dig in. Now we've got to talk about the conflict of the story. The conflict is a problem that arises that makes the action happen. Sometimes it's an argument between two characters in the story.
Like someone trying to take the phone?
What are you talking about? Hey! Come back here!
Now we have to come up with the end of the story, which is called the resolution. Can I keep the phone, man?
No, give it back.
No!
All right, so we finished writing our play with the Random Play Generator. And now we have to use our scripts and actually practice. So we're gonna put it on its feet and stage it. Are you ready, Elin?
Yes, Random Play Generator!
Okay, so now that we've finished staging the play, we need to get it ready for performance. What are some things you think we need, Elin?
Props and costumes.
Ooh, props and costumes. I'm excited about this. You guys may be able to find some stuff by looking around at home. Who knows what you guys have that you can turn into a proper costume. Are you ready, Elin?
Let's do this.
Let's go!
Yeah!
got together our costumes and a few props for our play that we made with our random play generator. And we're gonna put it together for you now. So we hope you enjoy our performance. Here we go. Are you ready?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Random play generator! My name is Kid Vicious, and I am a villain. I have a villainous destiny. Hear my battle cry. Ah! I live in a place called the Village of Battles. It's a wondrous and beautiful medieval time. According to an ancient prophecy, it is my destiny to conquer a magical realm. To fulfill my destiny, I, Kid Vicious, will go on a journey of great length. Ah!
Stop! You are traveling in my magical lands. My name is Drama Man, and I am a hero, and I have a heroic destiny. Hear my battle cry. Destroy Kid Vicious.
I am Kid Vicious, and I have a villainous destiny, but I have spent much of my strength on this lengthy journey.
I am your greatest enemy. Before you can fulfill your villainous destiny, you must meet me in battle! Battle!
Before we battle, tell me why you have become my greatest enemy.
It is a long and sordid story, but we are enemies because you have done something horrible to me by stealing my phone. And that makes us mortal enemies.
Well, my enemy, it is true. I have stolen your phone. I am Kid Vicious, and I shall fulfill my destiny. Ah!
Destroy Kid Vicious! You are Kid Vicious, and you are not worthy of your villainous destiny.
And I am Kid Vicious, and am not fulfilled my villainous destiny.
Oh. So thanks for hanging out with us today, guys, and we hope that you enjoyed our play, and we hope that you guys use the random play generator to make your own. Be sure to share your stories with us by uploading them to Facebook or sending us or tagging us in the video. And if you want to use our worksheet, you can find it on www.littleredhentheater.com or on our Facebook page. Anything you want to say, Elin?
And make sure you use the random play generator.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you soon.